Hey everyone, it's Birth3 and I'm here, and this is my review for 2K Love Story, the new film directed by Susindran, and starring Jagavir and Meenakshi Govindarajan in the lead roles. Now, a lot of people are being harsh on this movie online, and sadly, I have to agree with a lot of people that this movie was not good. I give this film a 3.5 out of 10. I'm not going to be like everyone else where I'm going to say it's like a cringe fest or a bore fest or whatever they're saying online. What I will say is this movie is uninspiring. Uninspiring because Susindran is a very good director. He's directed some very solid films and very good films in the past. And it's very astonishing and very sad to see that he's directing a film of this kind of nature because, again, if this film were directed by a new director or a person that is doing their second film, I can give this movie a pass because, watching this movie, it felt like a little amateurish. Just the way that it's packaged together, just like the things that are thrown in. I just felt like it was very cookie cutter and very, it didn't have anything going for it, in my personal opinion. And again, maybe this movie would work for you, but for me, it just felt like a new age Priyamanatori. And even when that movie came out, that was a little bit outdated for its time. So I don't know, man. I feel like it is very disappointing to see a director of Susindran's kind of caliber to be directing a film of this kind of nature. If you don't know who Susindran is, he's directed films such as Vanilla Kabadikuru, Nan Mahanalla, and also Pandiyanadu. He's directed some very solid films outside of those three as well, but, it is very, very sad to see that a director of his caliber is directing a film like this. Because, again, I get it, like a lot of people love to like harp on the fact that like certain generations don't get other generations' mentality or lifestyles. Here there's a lot of like boomer this, boomer that kind of comedy, or 90s kids and 2K kids, how they're different from each other in terms of their viewpoints and love and society, so on and so forth. It's just, if you make a film where you're harping on generational, differences and all that stuff, you gotta have a solid story. You gotta have some funny jokes. None of the jokes worked here. Singampuli and Bala Saravanan are trying their best here, but even then, they're talented comedians, but even they can't save the script. The main actors, there are certain points in this film, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to Tamil cinema. Whenever there's a situation where someone is, going through something or they did something wrong, the main actor or the person that's the main person in that scene will stop what they're doing. They'll start pointing at the people and they'll maybe point at the camera and they'll start harping on like, you need to live this way. You need to do this. You need to do that. If you are smoking, you got to stop smoking because it's not just helping you, it's going to help the people around you. And they're making it seem as though it's like this big monologue that just goes nowhere, and you're expecting people to cheer and clap for those like dialogues. It feels so artificial. That's just one example. There's no dialogue like that in this movie, where I swear I remember one movie in the past, I don't remember which specific film, but they're like harping on this other character to stop smoking, and it just came off as like a lecture rather than an actual like dialogue piece. And the one astonishing thing here is that this is a very family-friendly film, because I don't think there's any sequence in this whole movie, especially when it revolves around like younger characters, where there's no smoking, there's no drinking, there's no like, taboo stuff happening in this film, which is very surprising. I thought that was a pleasant surprise, because sometimes when it comes to a family-friendly film, it's not as family-friendly as they're advertising it to be. So I'll give the film credit for that, I guess. But I'm getting really tired of Tamil cinema throwing in something that is viral at the moment, or like a meme kind of like noteworthy thing, and throwing it into the story or throwing it into a joke and making it so that like people could clip that and be like, oh my God, this is so cool. They reference this thing. It's just getting very tiresome. I really want directors and writers and even the stars themselves to be just natural, to be in the story. I don't want things to be shoehorned into the story because it is the flavor of the month. When you watch this film, you understand what I mean. Also, Demon, he needs to take a sabbatical from music for a little bit because he's a talented musician, but I feel like a lot of his soundtracks in recent times or just in recent years have been not that great. And here, there's a lot of songs that remind you of other Iman songs, and they just fall flat for me. Like, I kept listening to the songs throughout this film, and I'm like, this reminds me of this album from him, and this, track from another film, or so on and so forth. Again, he deserves better. And I feel like if he takes a little break and then come back after a year or so, maybe he'll be refreshed and re-energized, and maybe we'll have a new outlook in terms of music. But yeah, just the songs were very familiar. The story is very familiar. Like I said, it's a new age Priyamanatori. And again, whenever anyone like talks about, oh, you guys are very good friends, why don't you marry each other? The one of the characters will go in this like soliloquy of like, oh, mom and dad, you can't question my friendship with this person because do you know about what my favorite color is? Do you know what my favorite food is? Do you know what my favorite movie is? So on and so forth. Like, I know it's a movie, but even then, watching that scene, I was like, you know what? Those parents are not great parents if you don't even know like half of the things about your kid like that. Like, I don't, it was just very frustrating. It just felt like, I don't know, man. Like I said before, this isn't a horrible movie. What it is that it's just disappointing. It's disappointing that we keep having these movies come out where they're very preachy, they're very lectury, they just feel so outdated. Again, if this movie were made in like the 80s, 70s, or even the 90s, it could have been a hit or a blockbuster. So I don't know, maybe, but I don't know. It's just throughout watching this whole movie, I was just kind of like, just watching it with like my hand on my head like this. It was just frustrating. It's frustrating because again, a director of Susindaran's caliber has directed some solid films in the past, and it's very devastating to see him make a movie like this. But again, this review is a lot more longer than it should be for a film of this kind of nature. It's a 3.5 out of 10, like I said before. It's not great. Don't watch it if you don't need to. But, I guess it will pass the time. The good thing is it's only 2 hours. It's not a long movie, but yeah. Yeah, I just want Tamil cinema to thrive. That's all I want. That's all I'm asking for. I just want different types of stories when it comes to like, rom-coms or stories revolving around friendship or something, whatever. If you're trying to make a breezy entertainer, make breezy entertainers that are more meaningful, more original, and are better written. And also, again, if you're gonna harp on these generational differences between 2K kids and 90s kids and 80s kids and so on and so forth, make better jokes. Make it so that it's a little more enticing. Make it so that it's not a meme or like a kind of like a one-liner that you would see in the comment section in YouTube. Make actual, material that works. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, 3.5 out of 10. If you really want to see this movie, go ahead, watch it. But yeah, I don't recommend it, sadly. Sorry.